audio, so we try to speak very analog way.
Very analog.
Before we start this session, let me introduce you the curator of this exhibition, Suprematism100, its influence on the West and the homage à Malevich, Dárdai art critic. This compilation of the artworks and collecting the artworks, selecting the works from the artist is her work. She was assisted with Janos Saxon-Szász, who is taking the photos about us now. And let me introduce you art historian Professor László Beke from Budapest and from the Vienna University. So he will open the exhibition.
Thank you very much for this introduction. And I should like to be very familiar with you because I think everybody knows everything about Malevich. Everybody knows everything about this 100 years. And in the same time, there are some problems which I try to, not to analyze, but introduce you to this problem, this circle of problems, and this is the following. Maybe nobody knows exactly that at the moment we are in the middle of the starting point, in the middle of the Symmetry Festival, which is in the same time the Symmetry Conference, which was each year or each second years somehow, but it's about the 12th. I don't know how many is already, but more than 10. This is one thing. This is about symmetriology, which is a very hardcore science, mixed up with mathematics, with philosophy, with topology, with tiling, and so on. And the head of these, or president of this festival is Professor Darvas, who by the training he is a physicist, if I tell it well. But the problems start there that the symmetry is very important also for the artist and for the art, and I tell it is a very heavy problem. Because it's, I am a little bit ironic, and I am from the side of the human science. I'm an art historian, and I represent the artist. Okay, but the scientists sometimes don't understand our artist, and vice versa. It's always a common work at the symmetriology, and always a kind of familiar and friendly discussion. Now, this is one thing. The other thing that in this occasion, Mrs. Dárdai represents the artists, and also a huge formation, which is the so-called MADI, International MADI movement. The words means movement, abstraction, dynamism, and intuition. Now, it started in '44, somewhere in Latin America, Carmelo Arden Quinn and Gyula Kosice. These people founded it. At the moment, there is about 100 or 150 followers. Now, MADI works together with symmetriologists, and symmetriologists try to tolerate MADI. That's why we are. This exhibition is after the concept of Mrs. Dárdai, who works together with his husband, János Saxon-Szász, who is an outstanding artist and highest level expert of Malevich work. One of very important work you see here on the wall, which belongs to the so-called polydimensional series, and we discuss with Mr. Darvas if this terminology is fit 100%. Question of discussion. Now, Mrs. Dárdai wrote a thesis about why we are here, and this is the 100th year of suprematism of Malevich, because in 1913 he exhibited at the so-called last futurist show in St. Petersburg, Leningrad. Meanwhile, the black square on white square on white ground. Now, this is the key word for the whole exhibition, and after this word were selected about 40 artists all around the first floor, second floor, and so. Now, my problem starts here, and I hope I am not still too boring, so I continue in some other sentence. I wrote the text myself, as you can check it if you want in English language. And there I started to analyze the importance of this black square, and I arrived in my mind a very hard confusion. What's it after 100 years, a black square in this case? And I tell that not only for the art historians, but for the whole culture, a black square, it represents nothing. That's why we are working for nothing, or it is something. Better to say, the black square of Malevich made a balance between, or is on the border, on something and nothing, or is an object or an idea, or a representation of an idea only. Is it the beginning of conceptual art? If it's the beginning, why is an object there on the wall? And you can add a third or fourth or fifth paradoxes. What about if I tell you that black is the darkness and the white is the light? Or not the darkness, but the shadow. What's the difference between the shadow and the darkness? An enormous difference. Close your eyes. What are you seeing? It's also a consequence of the question of Malevich in 1930. But he thought something else. For him, it's a kind of incorporation of the suprematism. And what is suprematism? The suprematism is the highest sensibility or sensitivity or sensuality, I cannot exactly formulate, of the feeling, a feeling in the space, who are only forms but are not objects. He speaks in German, the Gegenstandslose Welt. I think everybody understands a word to be invented without objects. This is the supreme aim of the artist. And is it this supremacy or supremacy, not the continuation of Plato, the idea, the thesis of Plato about the idea, where an idea of the square is somewhere, nowhere, and if I make a square with pencil or paint, it's a pure reproduction or imitation. So I don't continue this way, but I try to put the question: what's happened during 100 years with this idea? Is a broken old painting in a museum. Nobody are really interested in the object, but the idea remains. And what's new? People, among them Mrs. Dárdai, tried to put together the suprematism with Einstein's theory, where there is the space and time together 2 years later. The theory of relativity. Is there any connection, or is by Malevich is a kind of philosophy? And I could quote some really very important scientific discoveries, like the black hole. What's black hole in comparison with the black square of Malevich? I think is a new discovery somewhere in the 50s. Someone in the 50s was it is invented, the idea of the black hole. And now you can think about, again, what is the nothing, what is the deep nothing, which is we cannot imagine. But I tell you, an artist, a contemporary artist, Anish Kapoor, who make boxes, which are, you can look in, and the darkest black in it, in three-dimensional, untouchable, darkest cube. And this is something new in relation to Malevich. Finally, probably you understood that when I, poor Hungarian, I mean poor because I am not the first level of the New York or China or Moscow trends. I am only Hungarian. I am speaking in a very strange language, which is Hungarian. And I can realize that the half of them, what I tell or you are doing, are linguistical jokes. It's we says about the square, négyzet, which means four, something four. I collected some other languages where are quadrum, le carré, quarter, and I appreciate very much Italian, il quadro, because quadro means image in the same time. So it's a supposition, why? But there is a supposition that the image is square. Why? And this is a big dilemma of the 20th century art. Why a picture or an image is square? Why not a circle? Why not irregular? And I had finally something very strange, and is also included in the theory and praxis of Malevich, the icon. Malevich started to paint icons, it means sacred and sacral paintings, and ended his life with strange icons. And what is the painting in Russian? Живопись. If you translate it, it means written life. And you get the next one, which was invented and understood by the very famous Slovakian artist Juris Koller, who spoke about iconopis. Iconopis по-русски, искусство по-русски. Искусство Russian means art, but the painting is живопись, and iconopis is to paint. It means write icons, write paintings, write icons. And I tell this is not a linguistical game or joke, and not a Sprachspiel. It's the purest philosophy, and I understood by Malevich it was the deepest sacrifice and sacral thinking, to think about the sacred origins of the painting. I quote now because it fits very well to this Dutch area where once Mondrian and Duisburg. Duisburg was a Dadaist and constructivist in the same time. So I quote now Hugo Ball, who was an inventor of the Dadaism in 1916 in Zurich, and he spoke about the image. For him was the most important the image, the verbum, the word, which became image, and he quoted Jesus. He told that Jesus on the cross is the most important image of the humanity. He told it in 17, and I think it's not by chance that in the painting of Malevich, among the basic forms like square, like circle, the cross is figuring like not geometrical, but the fundamental form, not object but form. And I think the several quotations of the cross of Malevich here on the next wall, on several places, are like incarnation of the same problem. Now, thank you very much for following me so a long way. And at the end, to the end, I tell you a joke. For me, the most important, the most hard work in the whole exhibition is upstairs. These seats before a white screen, and it's nothing to do with the exhibition. It's only installation of the house. But this is the most strong work of the exhibition. Thank you very much.
We invite you for a little reception here, and welcome.
You find at that table